Jerry, I don't know how to say this. I saw your movie and I just didn't love it. You'll marry me if I give it a good review? Oh, but you're a mouse and I'm a. Well, I mean, no, I couldn't, Jerry. I'm in. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on this video. My name is Chris. The Tom and Jerry movie has finally released online. You can watch it on HBO Max or in theaters if they're open in your area. I sat down to watch the movie Friday when it premiered on HBO Max, and it took me a couple of days since then to wonder, did I want to go ahead and make a whole video about this movie and explain how it just broke down my childhood heart. I was a kid who grew up loving the Tom and Jerry cartoons. I got a big kick out of that stuff. Heck, even going back to the Blockbuster days when you can rent a movie or TV show, one of my go-tos as a kid was renting episodes of Tom and Jerry just because I found such enjoyment out of those two characters. How there didn't really need to be any other plot point than the fact of Tom is going after Jerry and Jerry has to outwit him at every possible move. You had episodes that took place in space, episodes that took place on a farm, episodes that took place in a city. The only consistency there was in Tom and Jerry was that Tom and Jerry were gonna go after each other, and more often than not, Jerry will end up getting the upper hand. So in that sense, the Tom and Jerry movie to me had endless possibilities of what you could do with this story, and they chose a 2003 model where you bring a character live action and you throw him in the big city, cause somehow it's worked before, right? And unfortunately for me, the movie just really went ahead and let me down. I was willing and ready to love this film, to like it, to accept it, even knowing the fact that this movie is made for children. So automatically my opinion on this is invalid because, well, I'm a man who wishes he was still a child. You see my room. And while the biggest things I can praise this movie on about, like the designs of Tom and Jerry, I actually do enjoy that they kept their 2D models, gave them a little bit of a 3D effect, really just gave me pure nostalgia goggles every time I'm looking at Tom and Jerry do their own thing, because I was like, if you could just cut this movie to the parts where it's only Tom and Jerry doing this, I'd probably enjoy this a lot more. Even more specifically on that, the actual Tom and Jerry slapstickness of this did work a lot for me, because it was pretty obvious to tell they were taking direct movements from certain episodes and putting them into the movie, which only more baffled me that this film just didn't work out, because you could kind of tell that the director behind this, Tim Story, did do his research on Tom and Jerry, because not only did he decide to include them, he included a bunch of recurring characters that would show up every now and then in Tom and Jerry cartoons, even a background appearance from Dripple pretending to be Joker, which by far I think was the funniest joke in the entire movie, and it happens in the first 30 seconds. But putting that aside, the live action Tom and Jerry movie to me is just another great example of Hollywood bringing to life a beloved property and deciding, you know what, I know there's a fan base for this, we're going to put these characters in the movie, but we're not going to have them be the focus. We're going to introduce brand new characters and they're going to love them just as much. That's the part that always will blow my mind, that the fact that you can title a movie Tom and Jerry, you can feature Tom and Jerry throughout all the trailers, but when you actually go to write this movie or watch it, so much screen time is dedicated to characters we have no connection with, we have really no interest in, but yet you want to pull emotional punches, you want to draw in storylines that makes us think that we're going to love someone we grew up watching since we were a child, to now that we were just introduced to them minutes ago. I have nothing against Chloe Moretz. I actually really like her as an actress, and anytime she pops up in something, I'm definitely interested to see what goes down, but her character here of this bad girl who's in New York that's also a con artist that wiggles her way into a job at a hotel, meeting characters like Michael Pena's character, or this royal couple that wants to get married at the hotel, all of this just feels like, why is this part of a Tom and Jerry movie? It's almost to me like people are just afraid to give them the actual spotlight and make them the main characters because they think, oh, there's no substance there. These characters don't even speak. How could you make them the main characters? How could you make over hundreds of episodes where these guys don't speak, yet we followed and loved them all throughout these decades? Even something I didn't expect to be a problem in this Tom and Jerry movie is all the voice acting also felt very off to me. Now, Tom and Jerry don't really speak in the movie. Tom actually is voiced by T-Pain. Just one sequence in the movie where he sings and when his little devil characters come out. Really interesting choice for that to be the voice of Tom. But still, not a lot going on with him. You still have all those other characters that they introduced from the cartoon show, whether you have Spike or Butch and his gang. And those voices, just, I don't know what it was. They didn't sound like it should be their characters. And this wasn't even a situation of me being so used to what they sounded like in their cartoons. It was just literally me looking at them and thinking, yeah, for some reason this don't sound right to me. I was even a little more confused that this movie decided to just kind of jump right in that, oh, you guys should know the Tom and Jerry characters. These guys hate each other. They just happen to be in New York and this is the adventure they go on. Where in the trailers, you almost did a better job of setting up these characters' story than you did in your actual movie. Because in the trailers, they had a whole scene where Tom and Jerry are specifically saying goodbye to each other. They've been friends / enemies for the longest and now they're headed off to their own path. And that scene, or whatever led to that sequence, was entirely cut out of the movie, letting you again get less connected to characters that you already wanted to be connected to, and spending more time connecting to these brand new characters you really won't care about. Bringing it back to something like Sonic the Hedgehog movie that from all the trailers seemed to be like it was going to be the exact same thing. A beloved animated character thrown into this live action setting with a bunch of characters you don't really know or care about that are introduced for the first time, but the movie is smart enough to focus on the story of Sonic, making you sympathize with him, realizing how alone he is in the world, everything that he lost, and then continuing to focus on him and that friendship that he builds with James Marsden's character. This movie just went ahead and didn't do that. It almost, to me, felt like they wrote a movie about a girl who was trying to get a job at a hotel. They didn't know how else to make it interesting, so they're like, well, we own Tom and Jerry. Could we throw them in there and every 10 minutes we just show them being crazy, and that's our movie. If you were one of the individuals who watched the Tom and Jerry movie, ended up loving it, then I'm so happy for you. I like to try and remain a positive person when watching a movie, but I gotta be honest, when a film kind of lets me down. So for the Tom and Jerry movie, I'm gonna give action 3 stars. Yeah, there is a lot going on in slapstick Tom and Jerry-ness, but throughout the movie, when you find out that's the only interesting part about it, towards the second half, you just get bored with the amount of Tom and Jerry nonsense going on. Comedy in the movie, I'm gonna give it 2 stars. Yeah, I think Tom and Jerry beating up each other is funny, but other than that, a lot of the jokes in this film just did not land for me. Drama in the film, I'm gonna have to give it 2 stars because this was a story I just was not all that interested in. A royal wedding, a girl trying to get a job at a hotel, oh, and Tom and Jerry just going after one another like we expected. Horror in the film, I give it no stars. There's really nothing here that'll terrify you. And suspense the film, I'm gonna give it 1 star too. This is a family-friendly movie with 2 beloved cartoon characters. If you're really scared of how the outcome of the film's gonna be, you need to check yourself. Casual fans, I'm gonna give it a B-. Cinephiles, I'm gonna give it a C-. And critically, I'm going to give it an F. Continuing on with this pandemic world ruining my rating system, if theaters were up and running and you had the option, I would say wait to rent this, but if you got HBO Max and nothing else to do, put it on in the background while you do some household chores. But that is just my opinion on the Tom and Jerry movie. Like I said, I really wanted to like this movie. I wanted to enjoy it. I was willing to and really trying to, but the movie just did disappoint me. However, if you ended up loving it, I'm happy for you. Let's just hope the next time they reboot Tom and Jerry, because you know it's going to happen in like 5 or 10 years, they kind of do a little bit of a better job. But leave me your thoughts down below. If you got to watch the Tom and Jerry movie, what did you enjoy about it, or what did you dislike about it? I'll be in the comment section discussing with you guys. Be sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at 3C Film Review. As always, I'm Chris. Take care.